Welcome back to the Shamir Show with Shamir Malik. Today's episode is a special one because we have one of the most successful rappers of all time. He is a Grammy Award-winning rapper and a successful businessman from Brooklyn, New York. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Jay-Z. So Jay, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, man. You mind if I puff my cigar here?
Not at all. Hey man, isn't that your cigar company?
Yeah, it's called Zyno Cigars.
You own a lot of businesses, don't you?
Yeah, I started with my record label, Rockefeller Records. Then I moved on to a clothing line called Rockaware, then Nyx Cologne, then Gold Cologne, Armadale Vodka, and then Rock Nation, and then last year I bought Aspero, also known as Tidal.
Wow, that's a lot of businesses. Did you always want to be a businessman?
Listen, I would do anything for money. Ever since my dad left me when I was 10, I felt like I needed to be the provider, the man of the family.
Sorry to hear that your father left you. When did all this happen?
My dad, Adnis Reeves, left when I was only 10 years old. Before he left, he told me he was going to find the man who fatally stabbed my uncle. After that, he never came back.
So sorry to hear that. Did you ever see him again after that?
Actually, I did. 25 years later, though. It was 2004, and my mom, Gloria Carter, she was telling me all the time to meet him because he was terminally ill.
Mm-hmm.
Even though she hated him, she kept telling me. Eventually, I did.
Was meeting him a big deal for you?
Nah, the reason I didn't want to meet him was because he left me when I looked up to him the most. 25 years is a long time. So when I did meet him, it wasn't dramatic or anything. We just talked for a bit.
But what did you guys talk about?
I had to ask him why he left. I found out he became a heroin addict. When I asked him why he actually left, he said, "You knew where I was, so you could have visited any time." I told him, "Nah, you're my father. You're supposed to come back after an hour or two, not 25 years. He apologized and now we're all cool.
How did you cope with losing your father when you were only 10 years old?
Honestly, I couldn't do anything. I used to be good at math and stuff. My marks went down and so did my life.
What happened exactly?
Well, my whole family was a mess. My mom was so broken that she couldn't trust another man in her life other than her sons. So she became a lesbian. My brother Eric was a druggie. One night when he came home, I saw that he stole my chains. I yelled at him for taking them and told him to give it back to me. At that moment, I looked in his eyes and saw he was completely wasted. Then he started throwing punches at me. I was scared and my mom kept a loaded gun in the house, so I threatened him. He kept going, and then I just closed my eyes and squeezed the trigger. I was hoping that I would not hit him, but sadly it did.
So what happened after that?
Well, I took him to the hospital. When he was stable, I apologized to him. I said sorry, but he said that he deserved it completely and that he wasn't going to press any charges. We've been cool ever since.
Sorry to hear that. Can you tell us a little bit more about your high school life?
Well, I went to high school in the Marcy Projects of Brooklyn. It was a terrible school. I would never go to the bathroom there because it was always pitch black. There was always people inside there and they would jack your stuff. So I never took any chances. The funny thing is, I went to the same high school as Busta Rhymes and Biggie.
Were you guys like really close?
Not really. I mean, we ran into each other a lot, but we weren't really tight until 10 years later when we started recording together. Funny thing is that it was one time in the cafeteria, I had a rap battle with Busta Rhymes, and I did beat him.
You started dealing drugs in high school. How exactly did that happen?
Listen, I was never a drug dealer. I was and still am a hustler. After my dad left me, it was just me, my mom, my brother, and my two sisters. My brother wasn't so serious about the situation we was in, so I decided to be the man of the house. So I met up with a couple of hustlers that were doing it for a while. They showed me the ropes, and eventually I was making enough to pay my own rent. I even used to leave town and make more money on the weekends. I like making money. It made me feel good. I wanted to keep dealing for my whole life, but my plan in life changed.
When did you eventually get into music?
Well, I was always making music, but I never thought being a rapper was a realistic career option for me.
Why did you think it was unrealistic?
Well, compared to hustling, being a rapper lost a lot of money. You have to pay the producers, the managers, the label, the studio by the hour. Unless you're dropping #1 records, you're not going to be making as much money as you want to. Plus, I never wanted a label to dictate what I did.
But what made you change your mind?
Well, my good friend DJ Clark Kent, he kept calling me on the phone a bunch of times telling me to make music. I told him, nah, I'm making more as a hustler. And he kept calling me, and eventually Atlantic Records heard my remixes and they wanted me. So they called a bunch of times, and DJ Clark Kent was telling me, yo, you gotta do this. So eventually, I decided to make an album with them.
Your first album, Reasonable Doubt, which is an amazing album by the way, was your only album with Atlantic. How come?
Well, I was hearing a lot about artists getting conned by these big companies. So that's why I only signed a 1 album contract with Atlantic. Most artists they sign multiple albums, you know. But I only did 1 because if Atlantic conned me, then I would move on to another label. If they didn't, I would stay at Atlantic. But if it sold enough, I would stay. If it didn't, I would go. Sadly, Atlantic took way too much out of that album, so I decided to move on to Def Jam Recordings.
DJ Clark Kent told us you never wrote your own raps.
Yeah, actually, the first time that we were in a professional studio, I was joking around a lot, and DJ Clark Kent, he was getting pissed. Like, he started yelling at me. He was saying that because of me wasting his time, he was losing so much money. So then I said, give me 5 minutes. I took a pen and a pad, and I sat there. 5 minutes later, I came back, and I gave him the pad, and then I laid down a couple verses. And he was just completely shocked because I wrote nothing on the pad.
I heard you had lots of tension with the co-founder of Rockefeller Records, Damon Dash. What happened there?
Well, me and Damon were business partners, but for some reason he saw himself above me. He also wanted to make it to Hollywood for some reason. After a while, I didn't really want to go down that road, but he ended up convincing me. So we started Rock Films. We made a couple of movies, but I just didn't really like going into film. Eventually, he started making decisions without me, important business decisions without me. So I severed ties with him.
You planned on trying it in 2003, didn't you?
Yeah, I wanted to go into more business ventures. So I put out the Black Album in 2003. That was supposed to be my last, but I ended up changing my mind again.
What made you come back?
Well, after I retired, my life changed so much. So I wanted people to know about that through music. So that's why I put out Kingdom Come.
Would you mind telling us a little bit more about American Gangster?
Yeah. Well, in October 2007, I saw this movie called American Gangster with Denzel Washington in it. I absolutely loved that movie, partially because I could relate to it. It was about hustlers like me, and the movie made you root for the bad guys and hate the good guys. So with the album, I wanted to go into the complexity of human beings. So I put that out a month later.
You put the album out only about a month after you saw the movie. How'd you work so quickly?
Well, when I was recording the album, I would play the movie. I watched the movie while recording the album. So it kept on inspiring me to make more tracks. That's how it got done so quickly.
Wow, what an amazing career. That's all the time we have left, folks.